I just want to encourage you today that you can rebuild your confidence from within and you can step into your calling, but it is a process to get there. And so today I want to talk about how your confidence and how it, being in a place or a season where you feel like you're not thriving, you're not successful, you're not doing all the things you think you should be doing, how that's still a place where you can build and heal, but you have to be doing the work. And so in my previous two videos, I started sharing about my story, which is I had been fired 2 times within the same year, and it set me on a different course. I ended up going back to school. And while I was in school, I was at this time in my life, I ended up reconnecting back to my birth family. And this was very, very important because I reconnected to my birth family. I had been adopted and separated from my family for 30 years. And when I reconnected with them 1 year later, my husband took a job in another city and we relocated 13 hours away from where I had been raised. And so I had to start seeing it. It took me a long time, but when I started thinking about the timeline, I realized that even though it was hard, even though I didn't understand, the timeline was very, very, very crucial and very pivotal for me, right? Everything was happening like it needed to happen, and I wasn't supposed to try to force my way into working a traditional job at that time because I wouldn't have had the capacity, the energy, the space to do the work, to find and reconnect to my family, to do the personal work that I had to of healing, to do that inner work. And when it was time to move, to get my family ready, me and my husband pack up and leave. And so often we think we should be in a certain place, but our path is being guided and it's being taken the way we need to. A lot of the battle is you learning how to ignore what other people think you should be doing. And this is very hard because, yes, you need feedback. You need to hear from other people. I'm not saying that no one can ever tell you anything. I'm not suggesting that no one can ever speak into you. But a lot of times, the people who think they know us the most are speaking things that may have been a different season. Maybe their life went a certain way, but that's not how your life is going to go exactly like that. And it's not coming from a malicious place all the time. Sometimes it's just coming from a place of people knowing you so they feel like they know where you should be headed. That's it. Just sometimes it's just not people trying to be malicious. It's not always that, but it's very hard to in some cases to fight against that. Sometimes it's hard. You're misunderstood. People are like, oh, you need to be doing this. Well, what are you going to do about that? And you really need to get still and you need to figure out and seek out your own purpose, your own path. Often you'll know what your purpose and your path is, but you may grapple with it. You may be a little bit, overwhelmed. Kind of it's daunting. Maybe you're not ready to speak that part of it yet. All I'm saying is there are times when people can know you and they can know what you should be doing, but there are other times in your life where you have to figure it out. And so back to the story of Joseph. Joseph did end up where he had dreamed he would be when he was 17. But to get there, he went through a series of events. So first, he was sold into slavery by his brothers. He ended up in, I think his name was Potiphar, his house. He was actually placed over Potiphar's house to run everything. And so he was in a very cushy position. What happened with him there is that Potiphar's wife wanted to sleep with Joseph. So Joseph had grown into apparently he was fine, honey, because she was like, oh, I want that, right? He was fine. She tried it. He was like, no. Joseph's answer was very interesting. It was something it was something like, how could I do this not only against, my master, the guy over the house? He said, but how could I sin against God like that? Joseph saw that he had been placed in a very privileged position and he didn't want to like mess that up. And in his mind, if he slept with this woman, he would be sinning against God. So he tells her no. She kept, for lack of better terms, throwing that thing at him anyway. He tells her no, she's throwing it. He tells her no, she's throwing it. Well, on the last time she was trying to get at him, she grabbed him. Now, I don't know what she was about to do. Joseph run out, right? And she grabs him and his clothes are still in her hand when he runs out. So he naked. Then she starts screaming. She's like, oh, he tried to attack me. He tried to take the goodies. And his master, or the man over the home, was angry. And that's how Joseph ended up in prison. He threw Joseph in prison over this. Joseph goes to prison, and then he gets favor with the prison guard, and the prison guard pushed Joseph over everything, like to the point where the prison guard don't even do nothing no more. Joseph is so blessed; everything he does goes so well. The prison guard is like, Joseph got it, and he chilling, right? Now I don't know what he was doing while he was chilling. I mean, this was like before cell phones and TVs. I don't know what he was spending his days doing. I don't know. Maybe he was just asleep. But he knew he had someone in place, Joseph, who could take care and handle things. And baby, he wrote it out. Now, Joseph, there had to be a lot of development going on with Joseph. Like, he had to be building his confidence. He had to be learning how to forgive, because first he ended up sold into slavery. He could have stayed bitter. Had Joseph been sold into slavery and then stayed angry, I'm not sure if he would have rose to like the position of like seeing over the home that he was. And that was my alarm. I'm not sure if he would have rose to that level, right? Because he had to see, well, yeah, my brother sold me, but I'm in this nice cushy place. So when he told that lady, no, I won't sin against God, that means Joseph was seeing his life as orchestrated by God. So that's deep, because that's very hurtful to have been, sold by your own family into slavery over something as petty as a dream, right? So Joseph was doing the work. He was developing, he was building his confidence. So anyway, Joseph, back to his story, was in this place in prison, and he's over everything. He's chilling. He meets the baker and the cupbearer who worked for Pharaoh, who Pharaoh got mad at, and he put him in prison. Now, we don't know why Pharaoh got mad. I don't know. Maybe they burnt the bread and maybe the wine was tasting off. I don't know what happened. Whole time, though, they get thrown into prison because Pharaoh got mad. They both had a dream. They both went to Joseph. They was like, Joseph, please help me with my dream. Joseph was like, God gives the interpretation of dreams. Tell me what it is. So I think Joseph, again, very interesting. He was no longer just blabbing stuff out. He was like, hold on, I'll help you, but just know this isn't coming directly from me. I am just a messenger. And I think that's a place of growth. I also think it says a lot about him that he was even willing to deal with dreams. A dream got him sold into slavery. I don't know if I would have dealt with dreams no more, personally. Like, I might have been like, don't ask me no questions. I don't know. Like, again, that would have been me unhealed, though, right? I wouldn't have been doing the work if I felt like that. If I answered like that, that meant I wasn't doing the work. And I don't know if I would have been doing the work after being sold into slavery. Like, sold by my own fam, like messed up, right? Anyway, it says a lot about his development. He is actually really going through the process to rise back up and to be over the prison. He's going through these hard things and apparently working them out. I wish he gave us more background into like his grappling and his development once these harsh things happen to him, but we don't get that. Moving forward, he interprets these two dreams and he tells the baker, your dream's going to come true. You're going to die. So Pharaoh had the baker hanged. He tells the cupbearer, you will be restored to your position. And when you're restored, when you pouring that cup up, pour it up, pour it up. When you serving that wine, honey, you feel me? Folks drinking that thing, they in a good mood. Remember me, okay? Remember me. The cupbearer forgot about him for 2 years. I mean, he gets out, he gets restored. He forgot about him. He's human, right? He was probably excited that he was back in his position. He was probably just on that high. He just forgot. Okay, he human. He forgot until Pharaoh had a dream that nobody could interpret. So fast forward 2 years, Pharaoh has this dream. He is not sleeping. He needs answers. He calls in magicians, diviners, all the folks, honey, palm readers, everybody get in here. You feel me? Soothsayers, we need you to come up in this thing, right? Flip them to roll card. Do what y'all got to do and tell me what this dream means. And nobody could. Which I think is interesting because y'all got all this stuff going on. Ain't nobody got no answers. Doesn't matter. No one has answers. And that's when the cupbearer remembered Joseph. Now, I'm going to add a little imagination to say, I bet you Pharaoh wasn't sleeping, honey. That cupbearer was just in that room 24/7, pouring that wine, that liquor, whatever he could get in his hands. I'm sure he was trying to get some rest and he couldn't. And I'm sure the cupbearer was tired, honey, because you hitting this bottle hard. You are going through. Point. The cupbearer remembers Joseph and tells Pharaoh, and Pharaoh, like, get him in here now, ASAP. I need him in here. But before Joseph went to Pharaoh, he had to be cleaned up. His clothes had to be changed before he could even step into Pharaoh's presence, which I think is interesting, right? And so, again, that was the time. You don't go before the king just looking raggedy in an old kind of way, right? I just couldn't imagine. Like, I'm sitting here and then boom, you're in prison and then boom, they come and get you, clean them up, take them over here to Pharaoh. He gets to Pharaoh, right? He's like, God gives the meaning of dreams, but give me your dream. So Pharaoh tells him the dream, and Joseph affirms what he's saying. I feel like I should pull out scriptures and read them because I don't want y'all to think I'm just making stuff up. But Pharaoh tells him the dream. Joseph is like, hey, this is your dream. You had it twice because God's letting you know that this has already been established. It's going to happen. He is telling you these things. There was a lot of interesting things in this too, because he ends up, telling him what the dream means, how he needs to prepare. There's going to be 7 years of plenty, then 7 years of famine. The famine is going to be so bad, nobody's going to remember the 7 good years. Right. And there's a whole lot that I could talk about with that. Right. Anyway, so he's there, he's telling him, and Joseph goes, you need to figure out who can help you with this. You need to figure out how to store all of this grain so that when those 7 years of famine hit, the world doesn't die and starve. Like, that's how much extra grain and extra food left over from those 7 years of plenty. Like, that is a lot. Right. Whole different story. Anyway. That's when Pharaoh tells Joseph, you had the spirit of God because you was the one able to tell me this dream. So since you had the spirit of God and you had these answers, you finna be the one in charge over all this stuff. Boom, bam, boom, bop, bam. And that's how you get Joseph in command. In second place, he only had to answer to Pharaoh. So it went Pharaoh, Joseph. That's it. That's how you got it. But the backstory to it, the years in between, the development, right? Again, you was hated by your brothers. You were sold into slavery. You were put in a good place, and then you were lied on and placed in prison. Any one of those things can make you bitter. Any one of those things can make you not want to get up and try again. Any one of those things. I don't know when I would have sat down, honey. I don't know. Like, the brother selling me, the lady lying and stuff, talking about I did something I didn't do. Right? Even in prison. Now I'm in prison. You want me over all these people, but I don't want to be bothered because I don't even like people no more at this point. That might have been me, but that wasn't Joseph. So, my story. The confidence, calling, and the courage to be seen, right? So through those years, me getting fired, me finding a family, me moving, once I moved, I went through some deep, intense healing. And my healing, I don't even know if I have enough time on this video, but my healing journey included a lot of journaling. It included a lot of just prayer. I had to figure out where I needed to be. There was a season I didn't have many people to talk to. I felt isolated, and it wasn't bad. I was in a new city. It was good. I did have my husband, but I felt like it was different being in a new city. I couldn't seem to connect with communities. I would try, it wasn't sticking. So after about a year, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not supposed to keep trying to connect to people, which meant deeper isolation. I just was in a season where I had to develop. I had to, of course, here it is again, the next thing in school. So I got back in school, whole different video, finished developing that. Thought I was finished, back in school. I'm in school to this day, thought I was finished, And so the point is that in that time between, being fired, moving, the family, all of this stuff, all of these doubts I had to overcome. I had to overcome a lot of shame from people, telling me I should have been doing something. Me thinking I should have been doing something else as well. Wasn't just outside voices. It was my voice, my thoughts, right? I had to get this right too. I could no longer even look at outside people. I had to only look at me. I had to figure out me. And that's tough. So I had that whole process that I've gone through. I'm still going through bits and pieces of the process. And so my whole point is that you can develop your confidence, you can step into your calling, and you can develop the courage to be seen, but it may take some work. Now, for you, it may be quicker than it was for me. For you, it's apparently going to be something different because we're not the same person. What would throw one person off may not even bother the next person. They may not even see it as an issue, right? So, for example, me being fired and then me being fired twice in the same year and going, hey, I'm gonna go back to school. That would have been it for somebody else. They may not have seen a problem with what they did. They may not have cared about all of the comments, people asking them when they're gonna finally do something for themselves. That may not have bothered someone else. They might have been like, mind your business and just kept moving. But for me, it was something that was hurtful because it was on top of all this other stuff that I had not dealt with, right? And so that was just a part of my journey. Again, for you, it's going to be something different. But the point is that we all have something, right, that we may need to overcome so that we develop the courage to be seen, to step out there, to do whatever it is we are supposed to be doing. And when I say be seen, I don't necessarily mean be a superstar and be in the spotlight, but maybe be seen doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing. What I mean is going where you're supposed to go. It could be a behind the scene thing that you are excellent at or that you're called to do, but you're just not over there because you're like, well, I don't know if I can, or maybe not me. All of the doubts, right? All of the things that you haven't dealt with that had been spoken over you your whole life, right? Maybe you wanted to step out and be an artist, you know. I mean, I just picture up, so I thought about an artist. Maybe that, but people said, well, you should take the safe route. Don't be an artist. You might not, people might not buy your stuff. Folks don't even, make money until they dead. That's a lie. I just saw the other day. I should have saved it. Somebody sold, I don't listen. I'm not knocking it. There was a painting sold and it was blank. And it was just like a concept painting. But it was a blank canvas and it had a name and it was sold for millions. And that person is still alive. So I'm telling you, I'm just telling you. Anyway, someone may have been talked out of being an artist, right? Because it's not the safe route. Or something, like a writer, or somebody could have been talked out of being a chef. Often we can be talked out of things by people who grew up around us. Some of that is concern. Sometimes they're telling us, hey, you should get something to take care of yourself because you don't need to just be out here messed up. So I'm not saying again that it's always malicious. However, if your path is to become a painter, to go back to my example, an artist, and that's what you're supposed to be doing, trying to stick yourself and contort yourself to any other thing is going to be costly. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you time. It's going to cost you some confidence. You may not be as happy as you could be or as fulfilled. And by happiness, I'm not saying every day on your job you're going to be happy, but I'm saying more like a feeling of total fulfillment or overall fulfillment in your career. That's what I'm speaking of. Or knowing that you are where you're supposed to be. That's what I'm saying. And so just trying to clean that up a little bit because I don't know, like I talk like I talk, but I'm not sure if I'm making sense all the time, but trying to make sure I bring that back in full circle. So yeah, I had to really do some hard, intense work. I felt isolated, meaning I had to do that hard, intense work a lot by myself. And it just was one of those seasons. It's like that in life sometimes. Um, it just depends. Each person is different. But what is it that you do when you are in that season? is what's important. What do you think you've done with that season? Are you in that season right now? Do you feel lonely? If you are feeling lonely, are you using that time to journal, to think, to envision where you want to be? Are you praying? Are you doing anything during that time except feeling sad? Again, back to Joseph. I'm not sure at which point in his story I might have been like, man, it's a lot. I can't keep playing with these people, because I'm like, what? I don't know, right? Was it when I got sold into slavery the first time? Is it when she lied on me, got me put in prison, right? Would it have been in prison? Maybe I want to be over everybody, you know? Maybe I just want to chill over here in my cell and just read a few books and kick it and think. Maybe I don't want it, but he never took that route, which again I find interesting. Now, I want you to, I'm going to leave a journal prompt. I'm going to just, leave something for you to, ponder and think about. But how do you rebuild your confidence once it's been torn down, right? I also want to ask, are you hiding right now? Do you need to develop the courage to be seen? What is it that you've allowed yourself and other people to talk you out of? Because, and here it is again, we need you right now. We need what you have to offer. The world needs your gift. Someone needs you to develop the courage to be seen. Somebody needs what you have. And every time I start talking about this, I really feel very strongly that I'm supposed to say it. And so somebody needs what you are holding back. And so what is it? What did you talk yourself out of? It's just as simple as that. What have you talked yourself out of? So thank you for watching this video. Please check out the first two parts of the video, and I will see you next time. Have a good day.